What's up, everybody? It's Leslie Ann from Real Love,
Real talk,
Real
real estate.
Estate, and I'm joined here today with my husband, Thomas. And our topic for today is how we got into real estate.
How we got into real estate.
So, one thing I do want to say before we jump into this, because I feel like since real estate's your baby, you're going to be doing a lot of the talking. But I do want to say that there are things that we both enjoy independently, right? So, like, I enjoy Peloton, not really your cup of tea. You enjoy anime, not really my cup of tea. And that's okay. We can invite each other into each other's worlds with those things, but I don't necessarily have to get your buy-in for Peloton because I'm gonna just do my thing. And you don't have to get my buy-in for anime, right? Because you're gonna just do your thing
I'm
with
just
it.
gonna do my thing with anime. I'm just gonna watch it and it's gonna be that.
That's right. But real estate, it's a little different. So as we talk about how we got into real estate, can you just even take us back to start like just how the thoughts started to bubble?
Well, growing up, I always liked buildings, construction, watching buildings go up. And I think when it really hit was one day early in my career. I was driving. I had a 1 hour commute, y'all, one way. And so I was driving to work, and I was maybe about 2 years in, something like that, a little more than 2 years in, and
To working?
to work.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like my professional career after college. I was about 2 years in, and I'm driving to work in the morning, and this feeling just came over me like, there has to be more than this. There has to be just more than waking up and going to work and working, coming back and rinse and repeat. And so from there, I started looking for different avenues where I could do more, where I could, just use my brain more, where I can do something that was outside of work. Um, that would make us money.
Engineering is using your brain a lot, just
Engineering
to
is using
note.
my brain a
Right.
lot, but I wanted to use those skills, right? Not that you need engineering skills to do real estate, but I wanted to take that and do something outside of trading time for money, right? And so started looking into it and I figured, real estate was the thing.
So I remember that there were a couple things that might have come up besides real estate. I do remember landscaping being one of the topics that came up.
Yeah.
And I would be like, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, how are we going to do that? Right. But you just like encourage, your partner. Okay, let's look into it. What kind of equipment is needed? What kind of money is needed? But ultimately, you settled on real estate. So, like, what was it about real estate that made you say, this is the one?
Well, back to the landscaping business. That was absolutely something that I thought about.
Yeah.
And, I figured it was fairly low cost of entry, kind of,
Yeah.
even if you start off with one person and build your way up. But uh, I had some other items that I was thinking about. What made me land on real estate was that is something that I can physically, tangibly have, right? Again, love of buildings and construction and, all that stuff, even interior design, right? I like that kind of stuff. So it was something that I could tangibly have, right? An actual hard investment. And I can pass it down to my kids. It would be semi-passive to a, certain point passive, right? 100% passive. And, just in doing my reading and doing my research, real estate is actually one of, if not the premier number one ways that families over time can build generational wealth. And so with that, I landed on real estate, something that I really wanted to do for those reasons.
Awesome. So I know I feel like this is interview style. So I know. So Thomas, next question. I feel like real estate, no matter what you brought to me, to be honest with you, was like, oh, okay, no, we're not doing that, right? So like real estate, you wanted to get my buy-in for that. Like one, why was it important to get my buy-in? And then I could talk about how I finally was like, okay, you know, okay, let's do it. So
So it was very important to get Leslie's buy-in. You brought up anime, Peloton, things that we can do individually, right? We
hmm
can do them on our own and we
yep,
don't really need to check in with that.
exactly.
But with something as large as real estate, you're building quote unquote an empire, right? You're building long-term growth, long-term wealth. It's not just something that affects just me. It's not something that financially, emotionally, effort wise, it would have just fell on me. It's something that would affect you as well. Something that would have affected the family finances, right? Because we got to live too. You can't just dump everything in real estate and forget about our family, forget about my wife and kids. So it was very, very important to get Leslie's buy-in from a financial perspective, from an intellectual perspective, right? From an emotional perspective. And I will say this, even if I were able to cover all of real estate financially myself, even if I knew the ins and outs and, you knew nothing about real estate and I can just take care of it myself, aside from those things, having someone that is encouraging you or someone that has your back, someone that can walk with you, someone that can, even from the quote unquote outside, bring something up like, hey, did you consider this? Did you consider that?
Right, right.
The support from my spouse was more than necessary for me to be successful in this endeavor. And mind you, this is something that, yes, I'm doing it for me, but I'm also doing it for us. And so I heard a saying not too long ago, uh, if it's about us, don't do it without us.
Hmm. Okay.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And so, it was about us. So I wasn't going to forget about bringing Leslie into my world, right? To be a part of that and to partner in that, even if she was peripheral or silent partner or,
Yeah.
just moral support.
Yeah. I think ultimately you showed me some of the numbers. You ran like the numbers, showed me the spreadsheets, all of that. And I'm like, okay, I can see how this can be, profitable. And then also, we started going to visit some of the places, like some of the houses we were considering. And then it started to really sink in. Like, okay, we can do this. I can see, somebody living here and making this their home, right? It goes on the internal side of things, if you will. Like, oh, I could see somebody really making this their home, and that'll be great. That we can help them support that dream, right? For home ownership. I know it's not their home in
Right.
terms of like they don't own the home, but
Right.
they can make it their home, which was important to me as well.
That's very important to me as well. Something that I didn't mention earlier, but being able to provide housing for people, um, being able to be a landlord, but be a good landlord, right?
I hate that term, landlord.
Well, you're the lord of the land, right? You're the,
I
you
got
know,
it. It
it's
is
kind
what
of
it is,
a
but I just
medieval
don't like
term,
it.
but that being said, you have the power.
Even though I do like my lord in Bridgerton. Sorry, that's an aside.
You do have the power to affect people's livelihood or their lifestyle, right? When you can provide housing for them. So Leslie was absolutely correct where she said, I showed her the numbers. You have to know your spouse. Leslie is a numbers person. She is the finance, accounting, all things with numbers. And,
And a give me space person, because you told me about it and then you kind of backed off. And
so
then you came
yes.
back and said, hey, a little bit more, and then you backed off.
So I presented her with a plan, and it wasn't like a, thesis or doctorates.
Yeah, it was like 40 pages.
No, I wasn't about to do
No, it
that.
wasn't. It
I wasn't
wasn't.
about to do that. But I did come with the plan. I came with the numbers. I came with the spreadsheets. I came with, hey, this is the way this can work out. And yes, we did drive around and look at properties and see how the numbers would work out. And it's something that you had to grasp mentally, something that she had to see physically, but something that she had to internalize.
Yeah.
And so knowing your spouse, I told her about it initially, and she was like, no, no, no. Leslie is very risk averse.
Yes.
I'm willing to take calculated risks. It's kind of part of my job, but like my day job, but very risk averse, doesn't want to touch it if she feels like things can go wrong. With any investment, things can go wrong. However,
Said everything.
oh, everything could go wrong, right?
In
But
life.
again, calculated risk. And so in presenting it to her that way, it took her some time. It kind of takes you some time for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it so I gave her space, I gave her time, and just maybe a couple months, I brought it up again in passing, and just slowly but surely she came around, and she wrapped her head around it, she wrapped her feelings around it, and now she is my biggest advocate. She's in the business with me.
I am. I am his partner all the way. And man, oh man, sometimes we have stories for that, but
Yeah,
sometimes real estate, ooh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. But I definitely have become your partner from day one. I mean, after I was like on board, right? I was like, okay, let's do this thing. And there have been times you kind of like, and I'm like, full throttle there. Let's go, let's go, let's pick it up. So,
Yeah, it's
so yeah,
interesting because in her being kind of, standoffish, what do you call it, apprehensive, if you will,
yeah,
in the beginning, literally times where, I kind of
Ease
went
back a
on a
little
lull.
bit.
Right. I
Uh-huh.
kind of eased back, and
I'm
Leslie's like,
like,
no, let's go. Come on, let's get these
let's
properties. Come on,
revisit
let's
the
go.
plan.
Exactly. So just one of those things where if I think about it, had I started doing it without getting Leslie involved, there is a possibility that you would be more of an encouragement to not do it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Especially when things get rocky. You know, it could have been
Mhm.
I told you so. See, this isn't why we shouldn't have done
Mhm.
this. You shouldn't have done this, right? But in bringing her on and bringing her in to the entire endeavor, again, she's in the business with me, and we've been at it for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
So great. So good to have multiple streams of income, right? And so real estate was our thing, right? And it could be your thing or could be something completely different, but it's just nice to also have your spouse be on board with it. If it's something like that. And I know sometimes, I know I read Tabitha Brown's book, right? Where she was like, hey, my spouse wasn't actually really on board, but I was like, we're doing this. Sometimes that's the case too, right? Like you're coming.
But her spouse knew about it, though.
But she knew about it. Yes, he knew about it.
She let her spouse know about it.
Yes, absolutely.
It wasn't just something secret off on the side, and then all of a sudden, we're broke.
Yeah. Ooh, that's rough.
Hmm.
But it happens. Okay, so so thanks so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it. Any other gems you want to share on that piece?
No, I'd like to thank you for having me on this show tonight.
No. Welcome to Real Love, Real Talk, Real Estate. But yes, no, seriously. Thank you.
And thank you. I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you too, man. All right, y'all. Well, that's a wrap for today. So I'm Leslie Ann.
I'm Thomas.
And this is Real Love,
Real Talk,
Real Estate. Bye, y'all.